We're back! I'm Marshmallow.
And I'm Hitler.
And we're
Drunk on a Weeknight. Weekend edition.
It's the weekend, fellas. I know we like to get wasted on the weeknights, but that doesn't mean Saturdays and Sundays we can take a break. I'm sitting here drinking a delicious Jack and Coke. I need it to sleep at nights because it has replaced my blood entirely. 100% blood alcohol content. Hitler, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a fine Bird Dog Blackberry flavored whiskey, bottled for Western Spirits by Three Springs Bottling Company, Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Cheer up there, Hitler. It's the weekend. Anything goes here in the Drunk on a Weeknight headquarters. We're coming at you a bit off topic, a little bit off script. First off, it's Game of Thrones season. Spoiler alert, we are about to start talking the shit out of Game of Thrones and we expect out of the next season. Hitler, I'm a bit of a book reader. I know those words kind of give me headaches sometimes. I pop a lot of Advil. Are you a book reader?
For the Game of Thrones books, I have become a book reader. For that show, in and of itself, I started reading the books. I'm hooked. I'm on number 3, and I'll be done with that very, very soon.
Hitler, I am an avid watcher of the show myself. It is my favorite show on television. I have actually almost finished reading all 5 of George R. R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire for the second time because I can't get fucking enough of it because the season's come too fucking long. I cannot wait for that new season to start. There are some great plot threads coming up. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to just about everything under the sun. I love the violence in the books. You got to keep in mind, based on the books and based on where I'm at in the books versus where I'm at in the show, it does create some confusion for me.
Where are you at in the books?
I'm about halfway through the 3rd book.
3rd book. So you're coming up on, you're still a little bit behind the show, but you're catching up awfully quick. And you're starting to see all the things that are in the books that aren't in the show.
Right.
Is there anything in particular that were in the books that were not in the show that you kind of miss? That you kind of wish that the show could have included? Or have you agreed with all their decisions?
Well, so far, I really don't think it's touched too much on some of the things that I'm going to miss. I do think that the book touches a little more on the story of Theon Greyjoy. Not sure how much of an impact that's going to have. It probably won't have much of one. However, based on everything, I do have a few clues as to maybe the final outcome of the books. I do think Jon Snow's character is a little more important in the books than it is in the show, maybe. At least through the first couple seasons of the show.
You're seeing that through show-watching eyes. I think a lot of people watching the show are a little bit confused why Jon Snow and, of course, Khaleesi, the Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen, are a little bit off-kilter. They're a little bit off-plot. They're kind of in their own areas. Basically, things happening to them aren't really affecting the rest of the show and the rest of the characters. However, I absolutely love it. I know a lot of people complain about those plots and those characters that they wish they would get involved, that the White Walkers would show up and that the dragons would come and eat Cersei alive and burn her to her fucking tits. But I absolutely love every fucking instant of it.
Did
I know
you say
a lot of
tits?
people. You just finished book. You're about to finish book 3. I know a lot of people who flat out skip book 4 because of people saying that they didn't like it as much, and I can't disagree with that more. I understand why. But I think if you do, you're freaking stupid. It's still very, very good if you know what you're walking into.
I like Game of Thrones.
You do like Game of Thrones. Now, my question to you is, how much do you like the Ironborn? Theon Greyjoy's family. You brought that up, that they're a little bit more played out in the books than they are in the show. I'm not sure exactly at what point in the books you are at when it comes to specific to the Ironborn, but I can say that they're way more important in the book than they are in the show. So based on what you've read and at what point you're at, what are your thoughts and feelings on them? Would you want, if nothing else got said about them, would you be okay with that, or do you want to know more?
I want to know more, just because based on what I know in the books, I feel like they're going to play a bigger part in the outcome of the realm itself. So I want to learn more, so that I feel like maybe at times I'm analytical to a fault. Movies, shows, books, things of that nature, I always try and figure out the outcome before it happens. I know maybe some other people aren't that way, but I'm always trying to predict the next step in the book, what's going through the author or the producer's mind, whatever the case may be, and it has failed me miserably, and that has driven me crazy.
Yes, because it is 100% impossible. As someone who's read all 5 books almost now twice, as well as the graphic novel prequels and the unpublished online chapters to the new book, Winds of Winter, which should be the 6th book, I could say you'll have no idea what's coming up. Everything's going to be changed. New characters are going to come in. Beloved characters are going to die. If you've been watching Game of Thrones, and you know what to expect from that standpoint. And yet, I know most people are still a slave to the notion of Robin Hood jumping over the wall, shooting an arrow, and helping out freaking Eddard Stark, who got decapitated in season 1. That shit is not fucking happening, and you have no clue what's about to happen. But don't worry, I won't spoil anything for you, Josh, there, old Hitler. But you do not know what's about to come up. I think in the next season you're going to see a lot more of the characters of Dorne, which is where Oberyn Martell was from. You're going to see a lot more of his children and just absolutely how pissed off they are. You're going to see a lot more of Daenerys and what happened to her and Meereen. She's got a full-on Iraq hostile situation. You got to get some insurgents setting up IEDs there. And obviously how Jon Snow is going to deal with Stannis Baratheon up at the wall, and of course now that Tywin Lannister is freaking dead, and Joffrey, who exactly is going to rule in King's Landing, and how exactly is that political maneuvering going to play and then affect the rest of the world. So it is going to be a great season. What do you think, what do you expect to come out of this next season? Maybe I'm curious. As someone who hasn't got there in the book, and me who knows what's going to happen in the book, but I also know this is the point I think a lot is going to happen that differs from the book. I think we're going to see a lot more plot threads come off book, off script, and create their own world. It's actually going to be unique for me as a book reader to actually not know what's going to fucking happen. It's going to be very similar to what you is also not knowing what's going to happen. So I think your theories can be just as correct as my theories. What do you think is about to happen?
I think we're going to see, I don't necessarily disagree, I think we're going to see a lot from Dorne after the Mountain versus the Viper, which was a badass episode of Game of Thrones. Although, I think we were waiting for that episode for about half of that season, and we saw that fight scene for about 10 minutes of that episode.
I thought it was well paid off.
It was amazing, which was just perfect. It was exactly what I needed. I will say that I feel like we're going to see a lot more from Dorne. I think we need to see a little bit from Arya and where she's going. She showed the coin to the guy at the end of the last season. She said Vada Magudis, whatever that word is.
Bravos. Where is she going to go? What's she going to see? What's she going to do in Bravos?
Right. So she's going to be a Bravosi for a while. She's going to learn and experience that. Her story, I think, is going to become more important. We did learn a little bit more about Bran and like where he's going towards the end of last season. I think this seems to be the point in the series where it's all going to come together. It's all going to start to make sense. Although I do say that I think the main storylines that we're going to see are in this season, and I could very well be wrong because I'm not a nerd like you. I'm not on round 2 of the books. Nerd alert for sure. I think we're going to see a lot from the death of Tywin, and I think we're going to see a lot out of the arrival of Stannis up at the wall.
But what are your predictions? What do you think is going to happen with Stannis at the wall? What do you think is going to happen in King's Landing with Tywin dead?
I think
what is the next chapter?
I mean, we said it 10 minutes ago. It's impossible to predict. I think Stannis' arrival at the wall just means that there might truly be a recognition of the threat of those White Walkers and of the wildlings up at the wall. I think maybe that brings some attention to a little bit more of that storyline, to where maybe some people start to recognize that, oh, hey, maybe this wall is important. Or maybe over in King's Landing, as far as Tywin goes, maybe that is what really creates the chaos in King's Landing. The whole realm goes awry. That's what gives Daenerys her opening to come in and really take the throne. And, who really knows? But I think maybe Daenerys' storyline comes together. I think we're going to learn a lot about Jon Snow, Stannis Baratheon, Daenerys, and Bran.
You forgot one major character, person who killed Tyrion, or Tywin. What happens to Tyrion? Tyrion, last time we saw Tyrion in a box on a boat. Where is he going?
I mean, who knows? He's with the eunuch. So who knows what the spider has in store for him, and where they're going, because as far as I know, if I remember correctly, they are on the same boat, right?
That was my guess as well. Spoiler alert. Varys does not go with them on the boat in the book, but I like the idea of him being with Tyrion on the boat in the show.
Okay. Well,
my point on that is, of course, as a book character, a lot of Tyrion's thoughts and inner monologue happen in the book, and you're able to know that. However, in a show, you need him to be able to bounce those ideas off people. You need to have him talk to somebody so you can understand exactly what he's thinking and feeling. So I think you always have to have those buddies. You had Tyrion and Bronn for a long time. I think now you can have Tyrion and the Spider. I think it would be just as good.
Right, and I think another thing that maybe a lot of people from strictly watching the show don't realize, and something I didn't realize until I really started reading, is that a lot of that inner monologue is a huge part of the identification of the characters. You really learn a lot about them based on what their thoughts are. Tyrion, I think from the show we realize, is a very sarcastic and smart-ass character, but in the book you really know that because it gives you his inside thoughts. And he's always wanting to crack a joke or make something funny and turn it into something lighthearted. You may get that from the show, and you probably do. If you don't, you're a dumbass. But like to a certain extent, like even Catelyn has these thoughts, and every single character has these thoughts from time to time where they want to crack a joke or they want to say something that they can't. But it gives you kind of an inside track to what they're actually thinking. And without reading the books, you don't really know that. So the show, like you just said, they have to sort of pair characters up so that they can have that dialogue to get those thoughts and opinions out. That way you kind of get to know the characters a little better. So read the books, basically, is I think what we're trying to say.
100%. But speaking of characters' thoughts, I certainly recently caught myself watching a couple episodes online recently, not of Game of Thrones, again my favorite show, but of one of my former favorite shows, Rugrats. Now it's like an odd transition, but again, that was a show where you have babies talking with their thoughts being audible to only themselves that made that such a great show. Now explain to me, did you watch any of those Nicktoons back in the day, and explain to me why that's such a stupid idea, yet even today I enjoy that show?
Rugrats. Yeah, Tommy Pickles was a big deal back in the day.
Such a Tommy move.
Yeah, he was a big deal, if you catch my drift. I don't know. Tommy Pickles was a big deal.
Boom.
Yeah, there you go. Now we're tracking. I love Rugrats. I don't know why. I can't tell you what happened in a single episode. I can't look back on it. But I will tell you this, that cartoons are awesome. And
Was Rugrats your favorite Nicktoon back in the day?
Rugrats is the first that comes to mind, but now that we start to think about it, was Rocket Power a Nicktoon?
That's way later, but the answer is yes, I believe that was, and the answer is no, not nearly as good.
I don't know, man. That came at the time. It was a very well-timed
You gotta
show.
go with the original Godfathers. You gotta go with Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, Doug,
Doug was the shit.
and Rocco's Modern Life. Everybody likes Doug, and Doug was great, but Doug was a little boring because the answer is Rocco's Modern Life. That was the shit. Did you ever? You remember Rocco?
Yeah, I do, but I just feel like that's debatable.
And the turtle that was a Woody Allen impression?
Yeah, you know,
Rocco's Modern Life was by far the best. It had so much adult humor. That's a show that I think that broke the ground on almost like a kid show that adults could watch and get humor out of it. Because that movie had so much nasty, vile, sexual humor that an adult would thoroughly enjoy that you as a kid don't even remember because it was so over your head.
yeah, I mean, maybe it was. But the fact of the matter is, it didn't leave a big enough impression on me as a kid to look back on it and go, oh, man, good
You only
times,
remember
good
Captain
times.
Underpants from Doug.
Yeah, exactly. I'll remember Doug because of his faggoty ass green sweater and the fact that he was bald at the age of 13, and I don't have to think twice. Rocco's Modern Life, I vaguely remember, but then again,
I gotta admit, if as flat-chested as she was, a 13-year-old Marshmallow would have fucked the shit out of Patty Mayonnaise.
yeah. Well, you know what? There's another thing we
Was
got.
she like some sort of weird Indian, Russian, Indonesian? The fact that she was like orange with blonde hair?
I think she was actually a double agent from, believe it or not, Kenya, which is why it worked out so well for her. I think she was a double agent from Kenya, and she was posing in the States as an exchange student.
Quote, unquote.
Yes. And more or less, I think Patty Mayonnaise was a lesbian, is what I'm trying to say.
She did always play hardball with Doug. She was such a tease, but would never put out. Like most 13-year-olds I knew that did.
Well, I mean, let's be real, though. The difference between you and I, our shows and our likes and dislikes, are not going to match up because you're like 56, something like that?
I turned 60 this June.
Oh, wow. You know what? Your radio voice, it really does sound good on tape, though. I will give you that.
Hey, man, so the life insurance is going higher and up and up. It is not good. Do not age.
I'll work on that. I will try and press that pause button as often as I can.
You know what I'll press pause on was Katy Perry's halftime performance of this year's Super Bowl. Them titties were bouncing around awfully nice. Hitler, did you catch this year's Super Bowl?
Well, Marshmallow, I am a married man, so titties is not something I look at these days. I look into the eyes so I can see the depth and the true essence of a woman. I hope one day, and I pray, Marshmallow, that you will see that in a woman.
Bullshit. I want to lick my tongue all up and down them titties. Softly, slowly, then a little bit faster, then back to slowly until she begs for it. Because Katy Perry is super fucking hot, and that Super Bowl was super fucking awesome. I was thoroughly entertained that entire Super Bowl. I really, really enjoyed that. Basically, completely compared to what happened last year between Seattle and Denver. This year, between the cheating-ass Patriots and the bullshit artist Seattle Seahawks were fucking great. I absolutely loved it.
I like football.
Yes, you do. You do like football. I know you're a bit of a baseball nerd. You like them stats, but we here in the Drunk on a Weeknight podcast love ourselves some goddamn football. And I thought that game was great. I actually called the Patriots to win the Super Bowl pre-playoffs. Luckily, that one came through on me. Kind of wish I put some money on that instead of just personal pride, being able to claim that I did that. But god damn, Katy Perry is hot. We had dancing sharks, like in total fucking Mickey Mouse outfits, dancing like I don't even know what they were flailing at, and I couldn't even pay attention to them because all I saw was them titties bouncing up and down.
Well, she's pretty. And not sure you were watching that game day, but she also has a little bit of a thing for Trevor Knight of the University of Oklahoma. I find that a little strange. Isn't Katy Perry like in her 30s and isn't he like a college sophomore?
Well, even if she's in her 30s, them titties are awfully young.
Well, I mean, then again, you're in like your 60s, so you have a thing for younger women. I understand that. I just find it strange that.
Come over here, honey, and sit on my lap.
Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna tell you about the war.
Yeah, that's about what I would expect from you. So, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you how I got this shank in my hip.
Yeah, no further questions, Your Honor. That's all I need to hear.
But no, Leslie, that Super Bowl was great. I hope. I know Seattle's gonna have to keep. So they have to pay Russell Wilson this upcoming year, and a lot of people think that team might explode. I actually think you're going to try to keep a lot of that core together, and if anything, they'll get better, even if they do have to pay Russell Wilson. As a matter of fact, I hear rumors that they're going to offer him some crazy deal where they give him like max guaranteed money, but very little over that. So when all those quarterbacks like Jay Cutler get $125 million but $60 guaranteed, Russell Wilson's going to get like $85 million guaranteed, but on a $90 million contract. Meaning Russell Wilson could just totally get fat and still get $85 million, or he continue to go on strong. But that guaranteed money is what's going to keep him in Seattle.
Yeah, well, why pay him though if the Texas Rangers are going to pay him?
It's very true. I mean, I'm not sure how he's going to fit those Super Bowl runs with the Seattle Seahawks when he's got those World Series rings coming in, playing for the shitty-ass Texas Rangers.
You don't say that.
What position is he anyway?
Second base.
He's a second baseman?
Yes.
Is he like ninth on the depth chart?
That actually probably sounds about accurate, believe it or not.
Yeah. I bet Russell Wilson can throw a mean ball, and he's athletic as shit, but I think a lot of that's just to sell jerseys there. You got a jersey there, old Hitler, with Russell Wilson with the Texas Rangers logo on the front?
The only jerseys I have of the Texas Rangers are the ones that say my last name on the back, because I'm a straight-up baller, yo.
How many championship banners do you have on your wall?
That I personally took part in, those are garage sale tokens.
That's what I thought. The answer is none.
Yeah, that's about right.
But you did mention that you are near a recent married man there, Hitler.
Yeah, that's true.
We got a Mrs. Hitler in our midst now.
Yep.
Hitler, what was it like getting married to a woman of all people?
Nag. Holy shit. I mean, so what if I don't hang up my ties? So what? I mean, I leave a tie out from there to there from time to time. It's my damn chair. It's my damn recliner.
Like, what I thought.
If I want to leave a tie here or there from time to time, I mean, honestly, if we're being real honest, the ties actually help me recline the chair from time to time because I don't always want to reach down for that little handle on the side.
Like you can help when and where you fart.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's not my fault that I trail every single fart. Like, I can only do so much about my farts. I can go to the bathroom. I'll go outside from time to time. But I'm not going to stand outside in the cold all night long just so I don't trail the fart back inside. I'm going to fart outside. I'll do you that favor at least. But when I come in a few seconds later and there's a little bit of fart stench, I'm sorry, but you married me. So I guess that's my thing. Married life is great, but I'll sum it up in 3 words: nag, 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 and that's about it.
That sounds just goddamn awful. I mean, someone that would marry Hitler, of all people, is not someone that should be married. I was at that wedding, and I thought the Satanic Cross hanging upside down was a little tacky. It was a little obvious.
I think you got the message across, though.
I know, but I thought also. I mean, it's a lot of things. It's the roasted goat we had at the reception. I thought the priest, that was a black man speaking some sort of like Roman Catholic / voodoo kind of language at the same time. The wine that he spit in everyone's face was very sour. If it was a little fruitier, it would have been fine, but I just thought it was so red and sour. I also certainly didn't enjoy having to take turns cutting each other's penises off. I thought it was a very odd ceremony, but at the same time also cliche. It was weird.
Yeah, we tried to go traditional, but in the specific location we were at, they only had an atheist ordained minister, and they don't really do the things that we're accustomed to here in the States. So, you know what? I'm penis free right now, and I can tell you this: I wear through my underwear much less frequently than I used to, because my penis was so big, so it stretched out a lot of undies. So I don't have that problem anymore. So
it's a real plus-minus situation. I did enjoy the wedding on the top that most of the bridesmaids were topless. It was the most tits I've seen in a movie, and I've also heard that a wedding without at least 3 deaths is a dull affair. As the Dothraki would point. Bring us all the way back to Game of Thrones, because that's how we do it here on Drunk on Weeknight. We tie everything up in a nice little ribbon on top of a box and with a nice little bow, and it's a red velvet, and it's fucking perfect. And I'm fucking Marshmallow, and I'm sitting with Hitler. Say bye to everybody, Hitler.
Bye, Hitler.
And go fuck yourself.